Good morning, Flosstube. It's Caroline here of Caroline's Corner in Leeds in West Yorkshire. It's Thursday the 11th of April and I'm here for my Easter update. Quick life update before I get into the stitching. I've started my new job. I think it's going okay. I'm getting this positive feedback so far. It's absolutely exhausting. And obviously it's working in education, so a lot of the issues that were things that were issues at my last place, still issues, but that's the nature of the work I'm doing. So this is a channel about all my crafty stuff. It's mostly cross stitch, possibly knitting, though not this time, but there is some quilting and sewing this time round. You can find me on Instagram at Caroline A Kemp, and Caroline is spelt with a K. That's mostly where I am. It's the same as handle for what was Twitter, but I don't really post on there anymore, and Threads. I'm on Facebook, but my account is private and I mostly use it to post on the stitching groups, so I no doubt I will see most of you on there. Show notes for the episode will be found on my blog, which is at carolinescorner.blogspot.com. And hopefully I can get this up before the end of the weekend. It's been quite productive. Well, February was quite productive because I knew time to take off before I finished my last job. March, not so much, because adjusting to new commute, and so my brain was absolutely shattered, so there's quite a few days where I didn't actually stitch at all. April so far has been great because I've been on holiday for the I go back to work on Monday when we get to the end of the Easter holidays, so I've actually got quite a bit of stitching done, which you'll see. So all in all, so anyway, without further ado, let's get into the stitching. I have one fully finished object. You didn't see this as a whip or a finished object because it was in the video that I never got around to posting that I recorded at Christmas. So this is Shepherd's Bush, 'Tis the Season. Now, I got the kit in the Secret Santa at the Yorkshire Stitchers Christmas meetup at the Red Lion. So what I decided when I was pondering having a new start on Christmas Day, the kit was still on my desk, so I thought, why not? I'll actually do a bit of in-season stitching for a change. So I stitched this, got it finished before New Year, which was the other reason for starting it. It was a small piece and I knew I could get it finished. And then, so end of February, I got it fully finished. So it's done all using the kit materials. The ribbon and the beads all came in the kit. The fabric on the back is from my stash. So it's mostly stitched using Weeks Dye Works on lamb's wool. I was reminded how much I dislike lamb's wool working on this one. But there's the greens here are a couple of silks. So very pleased with how that's turned out. I'm really looking forward come Christmas to be able to put it out in my Christmas decor. So yeah, so that's 'Tis the Season. And with finishing this one, that means that everything I finished stitching on last year got fully finished. I'm not expecting that to happen this year yet because of the nature of some of the things I'm expecting to finish this year. But yeah, so that's that done. didn't even make it into the stash. It got stitched straight away, which, let's face it, it's got to be a good thing. So onto my rotation. So first up is my focus piece, which is, as you know, is with my needles, Fruits of the Vine Sampler Hussif. Facebook reminded me that this has been my focus piece for over a year now. But when I picked it up, I just had the top, pretty much just the top border done on this, on the outside of the, on the sampler, that's the outside of the hussif. I took this as a class back in 2011 with Ellen Chester at Fobbles in the Lake District. And here is my progress to date. As I said, when I picked it up, I had the vines at the top, a little bit on the side, and I had the top of the hussif. And as you can see, so I think I'd finished that band when I last recorded. That was February. March was the last band of the verse, and April was this flower band. And as that didn't take me very long, I went in and put in the rest. So this is the last band on this sampler. So that will be May to finish that off, and a bit more of the border, and then I've got June to finish off these grapes, because these grapes, they're all over one, 10 stitch over one, they're a lot of stitching. So I'm looking at the finish line for this one. When I finish this bit, which is the outside of the hussif, I've got to pretty much do a very similar band. Let me put that down to the bottom of the sampler, which is a little pillow that goes inside it. And then I'll have stitched everything. Pieces like these are why I'm saying I don't think I'll get everything finished quickly for next year, because there's going to be a lot of finishing to finish that as a hussif. I have stitched all the other bits to go with it. There is a scissor fob, more grapes, and another little bluebird. And there is a needle roll, which was so that's the inside of the needle roll and that's the outside. So that was the piece we did in the class to practice all the stitches involved in the project. So this wasn't a class where you got pre-stitching, you started it in the class. That's why it's taking me so long. Mind you, even with pre-stitching, some of them, quite a lot of them still aren't finished. So yeah, so that's Fruits of the Vine, and you know, it's a really good feeling to think that I'm actually getting quite close to being finished with that one. So I'm not sure I can't remember what the fabric was, it was a long time ago, but these are the silks. They're mix of Dinky Dyes and Gloriana, and they've been absolutely lovely to work with. Forward to getting that one finished. So yes, so that's my focus piece. That got worked on in March and April. So we'll go back to February, and I think in February, and my whip go. So we'll go through my whip go. So February, I'd already finished the first of my whip go pieces for February, and I was working on the second, which is Girls' Night Out, which is a really old design by Kathy Barrick when she was Carriage House Samplings. This was done for Krynick for their Remember the Ladies series in the very early 2000s. I can't remember the copyright date, but it was pretty early on. So it was sold as a chart pack. So you got the chart, and you got the Krynic milk paint silk. So they were done as a promotion for the to promote the silks. So this is the colour palette. It's quite nice. They're nice muted colours on this one. I have a couple of Remember the Ladies. I've got a Mary Gary's one, which will come out at some point this year because it's on my Whip Go board. So I can't remember where I was when you saw it last, but in February I got the whole of the outside border finished on the piece. It's stitched in 10 stitch over 1, so next time round I stitch those ladies and the flower. Hopefully next year that might be a finish, but we might have to see because there's quite a bit of stitching in those ladies. My plan with this one is to finish it as a mattress pin cushion. I think a mattress pillow finish will work quite well with it. It's stitched on, I was gifted the linen, it's 36 count, I think it's Dawn's Early Light by R&R. But like I say, I've had it in my stash for quite a long time. I was gifted it in the early 2000s, so that's that. So that wraps up February's Whip Go, and we'll go on to March's Whip Go. So in March, first piece I picked up for Whip Go, I got a finish because it was Autumn Bird by Heart in Hand. I'm actually in the process of finishing this, which is why I haven't quite sewn the 2 buttons on yet. It's being stitched on 28 count summer khaki linen in using the cool full overdyed cottons. So yeah, very pleased to get that finished. I'm going to finish as a little pillow like all the others stuffed with. So hopefully next time I record that will be done. As I stuffed with crushed walnut shells is how I've done those. And it'll be ready to go out in autumn. Wasn't a lot left to stitch on that one when I picked it up. I just had the pumpkin and do the words at the bottom. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that one done. So quite glad to get that one off my whip list. That's 2 whips down. I've realised I've forgotten a whip, so I'll have to, when I pause it later, and then I'll have to go and get it when I've gone through everything else. I'm on a roll at the minute. So the other project for the Whip Go call for March was Stacey Nash Primitive Bees and Birds Sewing Roll, Biscorno and Fob. I'll try not to get any glare on that one because it's a proper photo. I bought this one, it was the kit with the exclusive for the homespun needlework, but this is, I think this came out last year at market. So I'm stitching it with the called for Weeks Dye Works threads. There we go. My ring bling is just a little embroidered pin cushion that I picked up in a gift shop. I thought that was cute and appropriate with the bird on it. And it's using Weeks Dye Works beige linen. I can't remember the count. I think it's 40 count. So with my new job, I didn't get as much stitching in as I wanted on this one. So, but I did get the top section done, so I'm very pleased with that. I'd hoped to get another section done, but wasn't to be. But it's looking very, very pretty. So got all the border done and the top section. When I picked it up, I had some of the border and I just started stitching that thimble. So very pleased with my progress for Whip Go. And as I've said in previous videos, it's all about the progress this year. I just want to progress as many whips as I can, because, and actually see substantial progress, not just a few stitches. And finishing the top section definitely counts as substantial progress. So I do have a goal sort of for every whip I pick up of how far I'd like to go. Some I'll meet and some I won't. So, and then we're on to Whip Go for April. So the first call for Whip Go for April was Summer Bird. I have finished winter, I have finished spring. So, and I've finished autumn now, just needs to be fully finished. So summer, and my goal for summer is to finish it. It's being stitched by using mostly the Call for overdyes. I subbed Red Currant for Brick, because my brick, I think Week's Brick was in another project. So I just pulled out the Red Currant to use instead. It's worked quite well. And again, it's being stitched on 32 count summer khaki linen. There's the, where I'm up to so far. So when I picked it up, I was finishing off the little checkerboard wing on the bird. So I finished that, put his beak on, finished the border, stitched the flower. So I've just got the border to finish and the wording to go down the bottom. So that should get finished this weekend. Friday night if I don't finish it tonight. Finishing it tonight might be a tough ask, but we'll see. So there we go. That is Summer Bird. So that's the first project for Whip Go for April. So the other Whip Go project, so we're kind of into plans now, is I will finish, once I finish Summer Bird, it's a Mary Cox Williamsburg Folk Art Accessory Sewing Box, which I was gifted by a friend. So I've got the painted box that goes with it. And there's the pin keep, a needle case, and a scissor fob to scissor keep to fit stitch. So it's mostly can't remember if they're, I think they're just DMC, and there's a cream silk as well, and it's green Weeks Dye Works linen. So this is where I'm up to. So my goal is to finish this angel pin keep. This month. If I can get, if that goes quite quickly, then I might see about finishing one of the other pieces. But they're all non-stitched, so they may take longer than the month. But I would like to get all the stitching. The most densely stitched piece is the pin keep, so I would like to get that finished. Yeah, so that will take me to the end of April, and then we will see what Jessie Marie pulls for Whip Go for May, and then that will dictate my projects. So on a Sunday, every Sunday, I'm taking part in the, I've decided that's how I'm going to work. I'm doing the Year of the Dragon sale on Instagram that Hugo Stitcher and Floss and Friends, two Canadian stitchers, they said for the year of the dragon we should all start to stitch on our dragon whips. Now, as I had Teresa Wenslow's Guardian just started, or restarted if you remember, because I got my fabric the wrong way around the first time round, I decided I'd jump on that sale, because otherwise I wasn't going to get to work on Guardian, and I'd only got a little bit up in this corner done. So I decided, and the way I've decided to do it is work on it Sunday evenings. So I don't get a lot of stitching time on a Sunday evening because I'm getting ready for work. But you know, get 100 stitches in over a month. That's 400 to 500 stitches. So it's starting to grow a bit. This has been stitched in DMC. There's a lot of DMC. It's a TW. One of the hardest things about stitching a TW is sorting the floss. Lots of blends, lots of quarter stitches, all that fun stuff. And so when I restarted it, I just found some random even weave, cream even weave fabric on my stash. And here is where I've got to. I got quite a good stitching stint in this last Sunday because it was Paris-Roubaix. So I sat down to watch that race. In fact, I got quite a good bit of stitching over the weekend because obviously I watched the women's race on Saturday as well. So yeah, so I have got, so borders increased since you last saw it. I think I would have been up here working on sky. So this line here, that's where the dragon's wing starts. So I'm just working on getting some of the background in at the minute because the dragon's going to be the fun bit to stitch. I love stitching TW's dragons. Her backgrounds can get, you know, this is pretty much full coverage. So you'll notice I stopped parking because I just couldn't cope with it. So instead I'm doing some more of the cross-country method, which has always been my way of doing TWs. So at the moment I'm working more and more sky. I'm still going to go diagonally with the blocks because the way I find it's best to work with on Teresa's designs is just to stitch every colour in the block and then I'll take it further down. So I'm still sort of working diagonally on the main picture. The border I'm just doing some every now and then. I'm about filled my Q-snap with the border now, so I shall probably leave that for a bit and get some more done on the inside. So yeah, so working on the top quarter of the design. Very pleased with how that's coming together, especially when you step back and look at it, because when you're up close with you don't see all the fading and the lovely shading in everything. So yeah, I don't think I'll get to the dragon. I don't think. I might make a start on the dragon in this year, stitching it on Sundays, but it's not the end of the world if I don't. All I wanted to do, like I say, is see some sizable progress, and that's progress. Still a fair bit to go though. At this point, I am going to pause you and I'm going to go and get that whip I forgot. Right, I'm back. The whip I forgot, what I forgot was that I had a new start I had a leap year start. I as I said in previous videos, I'm not after doing lots of new starts this year because the whole plan is to try and get my whips down and to see progress. But having had some finishes, well, I'd had one finished. I knew I was going to have another finish in March because of the whip go bringing up Autumn Bird, and I had a finish in February. So I'm trying to do two finishes and I can have a new start. So I decided to jump on the leap year start bandwagon. And I started Mary Gibson by Whilst Iris Snaps, which again was a exclusive for the Homespun Samplers Facebook group, and I got it and it sat there, so I decided there's too much money invested in those, so I decided to get it started. I got the kit with the Weeks Dye Works. The kit came with some ring bling. And here is my small start on it. So this one is just a little bit of border, but I was quite, for one night stitching, I was quite pleased with my progress. And I don't know that it'll come out again this year. I know some people are stitching on their leap year starts on a 29th, but I think I'll just wait for it to come up again. But I'm quite pleased to have got it started, at least. So, nice little start on Mary Gypsum. And I'm stitching it on 40 count Thornfield from Needle and Flax is the linen for this one. So each month I'm working on about 5 whips per month. I've got my focus piece, I've got the 2 whip go pieces, I've got the Year of the Dragon, and then I'm pulling a larger whip. I'm using the Roll the Dice for the Yorkshire stitches, which, by the way, if you haven't seen Yorkshire Dolly Mixtures, Ali and Ellie have recorded a new video, so do go and watch them. They're as lovely in person as they are on video, so, and the relationship's the same. So yes, so I'm using that to choose some large whips. Now, I didn't for February, but I just picked one because they restarted in March. So in February, if you'll have seen on my last video, I was working on Harvest Moon. Very pleased with the progress I got in on Harvest Moon, because I got about 1/3 of the way down. I'd hoped to just get the big moon at the top finished, but quite pleased to make a start, because those bands go an awful lot quicker than the big toppers. So yeah, so I got about 1/3 of the way done, which, to say I'd barely started the moon at the top when I picked it up, I'm very, very pleased about. This was a kit I'd had in my stash since I first started stitching, so again from the early 2000s. It's cream linen, 32 count, and a Vera Soie silk threads. So, and that is the finished sampler. So I am there on it. So as you say, quite a bit of progress, which I'm really pleased about. So yeah, so I used this tiny decisions wheel to pick 12 projects for Roll the Dice, and say once a month from March to March, Ali or Ellie will roll the dice at the Red Lion and we'll get told what our whip is. The first one that came up for me was an old class kit from Forget Me Nots on Stitches, which is CMB Anno 1759. I don't have a complete picture of how that entire sampler will look, so that's one half. I've just got 4 bits of colour photocopy. And that's the other half. So with starting the new job, didn't get quite as much done. I perhaps preferred to get a little bit more done, but I got 5 rows finished, and I'm almost at the bottom of the first page, chart page. So just shy of a page finish will work for me. So when I picked it up, I was working on this band here, which is the leaves, so I finished that one. Little flowers, the great border, and these two, so sort of hearts, that one. So that's 5 rows completed, further on than I was. And when I finish this border here, I'll be at the bottom of the chart for that side. So I took that class back about 2016. Again, this was one I took at Fobbles. There were several different ways of stitching this sampler. It's one Lauren charted from a friend of hers who had a fabulous sampler collection, and the original is all white work and done in French knots. So we had the option of doing the white work sampler, and you could either do it as one long thin one or the 2 panels. The original was the 2 panels, I believe. Or you could do a colour, or Lauren charted a colour version because she realised that there's perhaps limited scope for a white work French Palestrina knots. I can't remember if it was French knots or Palestrina knots. There was limited scope for that, so she did a colour version, which I think the class was pretty split half and half between who was doing the colour version, who was doing the white work version. As you can see, I opted for the colour version, which is all Gentle Arts cottons and one Averosoir green silk. So yeah, so quite pleased to see a little bit more progress on that. You think it should go quite fast because it's all border patterns. They don't. That might be the... Oh, and the dividing bands are meant to be Montenegro and Stitch, but I don't think I'm actually doing Montenegro and Stitch. I think I'm doing something else. I think mine's sort of morphed over the time I've been doing it. Just bear with me, I need to blow my nose. Anyway, my project for April that came up from Roll the Dice was Anne Kirby 1845. Again, this was a homespun needlework Facebook group exclusive, although Anne has now been released at market, so you can buy her from Needlework Press. I got the kit on 40 count, it's on 40 count Thornfield linen. So, change my board around. And when I started her at the beginning of April, the border was in. I'd put in some of the green at the top, and I'd got 2 of these flowers stitched. Now, you can tell I've been on holiday because I've been stitching every morning, every day on Anne. And I have got 1 page finish over here, and I'm coming up on, to quote Stitchy Sally, that big ass house in the middle, and that will take me halfway across. So I'll be, once I've done the house, I'll be past the halfway point at the middle. So I'm really pleased with my progress on this one. So yeah, so I finished those flowers off, got my partridge in the pear tree. Been working on the border as I go. So 1, almost 2 page finishes. I'll take that. There's still a bit to go. And if you do work on Anne, watch the border because it's not symmetrical. I'd started putting these in at the top and then realised that I stitched the first few symmetrical and did not. And they're not the same, not symmetrical. She obviously didn't like counting, she just eyeballed it every time. But yeah, loving how this is turning out, really enjoying it. So 40 count hog's bristle from Fox and Rabbit, and I'm using the Call for overdyed cons and 1 DMC that came with the kit. And I've added some mini beans ring bling to it. So yeah, so this is what I'm working on at the moment. So I go back to work on Monday, so progress for the rest of the month will probably be quite slow, and I'll be surprised if I finish the house. But having got to the house, I'll take that. As you can see, I'm over halfway on filling in the, on the border, which is definitely a plus. So yeah, really enjoying working on that one. It's been really fun. Ask me again when I've finished filling in that house, you may get a different story. But hey, so that's Anne Kirby. So that is everything I've worked on. So plans for the rest of April are to keep working on Anne, finish Summer Bird, and see how far I get with the Williamsburg accessories. I'll be surprised if I get it finished, but it'd be nice to make a decent chunk of progress, because that'll mean that next year when it comes up in Whip Go, I've more chance of finishing it. And then we will see what gets called for May. So there'll be Roll the Dice for May, and there will be the 2 Whip Go calls for May. I will keep working on Fruits of the Vine, and I will keep working on Guardian. And then we will see where we get to. Oh, and at the end of May, I am taking a class with Jeanette Douglas at Fobbles. So if any of you are going to that, I will see you there. So I will need to finish something, because that will be 3 finishes and 2 new starts. So that will be, yeah. So, right, stash. I haven't really gotten any stash as such. I've only ordered one thing, and that was the Stacey Nash exclusive from Homeswan Needlework Facebook group. And I got mine from the Cruel Goblin. Very impressed with their service. So this is the Rose Hill Farm Sampler and Pink Heaps. Sorry about the glare, I'm not taking it out of the packet. Beautiful sampler. Now this is, if I remember right, a special colourway that was dyed by Fox and Rabbit for the for this piece, and I've got the call for Weeks Dye Works, and it also came with a little corner gauge. So that's my only stash. Well, cross stitch stash that I bought. Right, there's no knitting, because I'm doing a little bit of knitting, but not a huge amount at the moment. So we're on to sort of quilting and sewing. At the end of March, I treated myself to a quilting retreat with Lisa at the Modern Quilt Club. It was a fantastic weekend. All the better for not having to travel very far. It's only a half-hour drive to Gomersall from me. So yeah, so even though I couldn't take any time off work, in the new job I can't take Fridays off like I could have done in my old job. That's the only downside, but never mind. So even though I didn't get there when everyone else did, I was still there by, I was still there before 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon, so it wasn't so bad. got myself set up, and I just took my mystery quilts to work on, and I got the one I was working on, putting together, finished. So I will put in a picture here of the finished quilt, because I can't really hold it up, but it's the So Sweet quilt, which was from a couple of years ago, was the mystery quilt by Sheila Christensen, who is Mystery Quilter on Instagram, and Lisa's colourway was, this particular colourway was Hay Sugar. Can't remember the fabric line. In a minute I'll try and put that in the show notes. So I was very pleased. So started that on Friday night, worked on it most of Saturday, and then finished it off. So yeah, so I had the middle section put together. So I was putting from here outwards, I was assembling it. So yeah, so I was very, very pleased to get that finished. And so that's now on the waiting to be quilted pile. Yeah, so that was mostly what I was working on, in between doing a few other things. Lisa, It's So Carrie, That's So Carrie was one that was at the exchange, at the retreat. So she did a little sesh workshop on fussy cutting and EPP, which I quite enjoyed, and I now have some EPP papers. Got an EPP kit to pull something together. I don't think I'll be fussy cutting, but I do have a fat quarter bundle that I bought from Casket Workshops a while ago from French General, that I'm thinking I might try some EPP with. Another person that was there was Eternal Maker, Anna. She had a pop-up shop, so I bought a little pin cushion set, which I've not opened because Anna assures me that she's got stuffing in here and it's just going to explode everywhere. So I'm probably going to leave that until I'm ready to stitch it. There are all sorts of goodies in a goodie bag that Lisa had made herself. So she made these project bags with Modern Quilt Club fabric. Jackie from Hand Tech Fabrics was also a participant. She brings her scrap bags, and so you could go help yourself. So so I got a pile of fabric, some of which was in my goodie bag, some of which was off the pile that Jackie left. Some of it is from Art Gallery Fabrics because they were one of the sponsors, and again there was fabric in our goodie bags. So we also got some Orfil thread and various other bits and bats from Genome and other people who were there. Let's see, got some soak. I didn't get anywhere with the legendary Orfil bingo, but it was still fun. Anyway, highly recommend one of Lisa's retreats if you like quilting. I'm sure I'll be going again at some point. there was a raffle. We got a raffle ticket. Everyone got a door prize. There were a load of goodies from Fat Quarter Shop, so I got a bundle of stitching patterns from Fat Quarter Shop because I do quite like that one. I will probably stitch it, not sure which colourway. I almost certainly won't stitch it on 25 count, or if I do, it will be stitched over one because I do have some 25 count fabric that I don't know that I would use for anything else. So I do like blues. Other ones I may or may not stitch. They are all by It's So Emma. You may see them later. I may do them as a giveaway in other videos. So I did have another sewing finish, which is this little bag. Again, if you remember, I finished a Sao Pin Cushion that I got from Euro Japan Links at the Knitting and Stitching Show. This is also from Euro Japan Links. I started assembling it many years ago when the kids were little. The pattern, I think I bought it possibly 2010, 2011. Started stitching it, didn't get very far. I found it in amongst a pile of stuff. Spent half an hour getting it finished, but I think I'm much more confident with my sewing machine these days than I was when I started it. So yeah, that'll get used as a project bag. Very pleased to have another one off the WIP pile and onto the finished pile. The only other thing I did at the retreat was to start piecing together my next quilt, which is Village Green, which was one of last year's mystery quilts. So I got Clue 1 done. I love this sheepy fabric, so I got 4 of these done, and then I will have to get back to that at some point. And the only other stitching I'm doing is I'm in the process of making a tiny needle book from Sweet Cinnamon Roses. I bought Lisa at Modern Quilt Club was offering kits as a way of using up all her scraps from mystery quilts, so I bought a kit. So this is the outside, and I got it pieced brilliantly and quilted. And then these are the fabrics in the rest of the kit, and I will have to decide how I'm going to, they're for the inside, because the inside's got several pockets and stuff, so I will have to watch this space and see what I decide to use for what. But I think that's everything. Bit of a whistle stop tour because I want to get this finished so I can get on. It's actually not raining today. The weather has been absolutely dreadful, and it's actually quite warm and pleasant, and I'd quite like to get out and do some gardening and maybe put the plans to build an ark on hold for the time being, but we'll have to see about that. So I need to get this lot tidied up. I need to see if my kids have actually had anything to eat today. They're teenagers, they don't emerge from their pits till about lunchtime, and then see how we go. Anyway, it's been lovely to hang out with you. If you like what you see, please subscribe, please like and comment, and I'll hopefully see you around. Being the holidays, I've had a chance to actually catch up on a few floss tubes. I don't normally get a chance to watch a lot, so it's been quite pleasant. I've been watching Stitchy Sally. I think I've watched the last couple of hers. Crafty Kirsty. That's what I've been watching. Watched Museum Stitcher this morning. Paisley Stitcher. I've got Brenda and Laura's Epic as they've not been for a month to watch. I'll been saving that for the weekend. It's a bit long for during the week. Let's say when I'm working, I really just don't get time to watch Flosstube outside of a weekend, so it's hitting a couple of key. So it's usually Brenda and Laura, and Carol, Saltbox Stitcher, and if I get anyone else watched, it's a bonus. So yeah, so it's been nice to catch up with a lot of people. I will hopefully see you all soon. My plan is to record again at the end of May when we're off for the spring bank holiday. But in the meantime, take care. Thank you for watching, and I hopefully will see you soon. Okay, bye.